It brings me so much peace in my heart, in my body, in my soul, because I know that life truly is meant to be good, a good place, a healing place, a healthy place, a happy place. It's not meant to be full of war and chaos and you did this to me and you did that to me and fighting over resources. All of these things are not in connection with our Heavenly Mother, and we know this. We know this, but the way that we go about trying to remedy these situations is we try to bring in more masculine energy. More masculine energy to bring remedy to the disconnection of feminine energy through logic and politics and, oh, we're going to pass this and we're going to do this law and that law. And meanwhile, you're still disconnected. You still have no relationship with the divine. You still have no relationship with your Heavenly Mother. When is it going to end? When are you going to remember who you actually are and your relationship to all things? Because that is what's going to remedy all of the issues we see on the planet. Peace and prosperity, and welcome back to Earth's Feminine. And if you are new here, welcome. This is the channel where you can come and learn all about primal feminine energy, the feminine energy that existed pre-colonization, and all of the conditioning around what we now believe it means to be a woman. In today's video, I want to talk about reestablishing your relationship with your Heavenly Mother. Yes, I said it. Heavenly Mother. So not only do we have a Heavenly Father, which is the energy that is uplifted and has been made the dominant force that we worship and give praise to, especially via different religions such as Christianity and Catholicism, and really the major religions. Pretty much all of the major religions revolve around masculine energy being the dominant force of worshiping, right? So we're worshiping all of these masculine elements, masculine entities. The cross and the symbol of the cross represents the phallus. There's all these different ways within our reality that we worship the masculine, which I've touched on in other videos, subconsciously and insidiously, especially in my How to Discover Your Value as a Woman video. We worship the masculine in every area of our life. We worship men. We worship all things that have to do with men. And then when it comes to the feminine, there's a lot of fear. There's a lot of scaredness. Is this safe for me to even explore, to even look at, right? As something worthy of my attention, my focus, my worship. And this happens through the way that we interact with nature. There's a lot of fear around nature. For most people, there's an inherent fear around nature, instead of an understanding of nature, right? And when I say there's a lot of fear around nature, there's this fear mongering. I see it all the time, especially when, my stepdad watched a lot of like Discovery Channel and like animal shows where there's always this narrator in the background of the show painting this picture of like this horrible, but like I wouldn't say it's horrible, but it's like he's talking about the animals in a way as if they are these wild beasts. He's talking about nature in a way that it's like you have an observation of it, but you don't have an understanding of nature and nature's power, nature's beauty, nature's potential. I remember one day that I got bit by a mosquito. And when I was living in New Orleans, they have mosquitoes all over the place. And my mom was telling me a story, I think after I got the mosquito bite, I was talking to her about it, and she told me a story where she was sick. She said she was sick, and she had something that she was dealing with for I don't know how long. It was like a cold or something, and she said she had like a couple mosquito bites that bit her. She said the next day, like, I felt better. So that wasn't something that I ever really explored deeper, but my message that I got from that was that, what if those mosquitoes had something within them that helped my mom to get over whatever she had in her body? What if those mosquitoes knew to bite her to help her get rid of whatever she had in her body? Because you see, a lot of what we think about mosquitoes is that if the wrong one bites you, you'll die, right? Like, I know that there's malaria and these different kinds of diseases that can happen from getting bit. But what about the power in nature? What about the life that comes from nature? There's so much fear that we have lost sight of the beauty, of the power, of the potency, of the magic that's in nature, of the healing that comes from the earth. This is the same thing that has happened in our relationship, in our viewership of connecting to the feminine energy of this planet. So it's happened with nature. It's happened philosophically, right? That's just a physical aspect, but philosophically, we believe in certain ways that, especially if we are religious, there's a whole bunch of fear around delving into anything that has to do with the feminine. Rituals, burning candles, in some religions, they embrace it, but they don't acknowledge it. Meaning they'll burn a candle, they'll do the rituals, they'll have the water, the earth, the fire, all the elements there, but they won't acknowledge it clearly for people to know this is what we're doing, okay? I talk about it in my previous video of why religion hates powerful women, okay? There's a lot of feminine worship within these masculine entities like Christianity and all these things, because you can't avoid it. Like, you can't not worship the feminine and still live here. It's an inevitable thing. But the problem is in the conscious acknowledgement of the feminine being worthy of that worship and that relationship and that connection. And the reason why it's important to have that connection is when you have that connection, you can put the dots together to all the other areas of what it means to be in alignment with feminine energy, okay? To all the other areas. So I break down these 4 areas in my I Am Earth Mistress class. And if you're interested in signing up for that, you can go down to the link below. And while I'm talking about it, I'm also opening the doors to the I Am Earth Mistress Mind. So the I Am Earth Mistress Mind is going to be the deep dive into every single one of the 4 sacred areas of feminine energy here on this planet Earth, and cultivating a healthy and aligned relationship with these areas so that you can flourish and live in alignment with your true earth feminine energy here as a woman. If you're interested in learning more about it, or if you would like to grab your spot, then you can click the link down below in the description, book a call with me, or you can sign up by clicking the link down in the description box below. From now until April 8th, I have an early bird special. So that means if you come into the I Am Earth Mistress Mind from now until April 8th, you will get 50% off of the enrollment. So this means you will be getting access to every single one of every course that I have ever done within the Creatrix Academy, which is worth over $6,000 in and of itself. And you will also be getting access to everything I am including in the Mistress Mind. So again, if you would like to learn more about what all of that will include, you can book a call with me down below and we can chat more about what that would look like, you coming in, or you can use the link down below in the description and sign up for half off. So it's important to reestablish your relationship with your Heavenly Mother. That means not only acknowledging the masculine energy that is responsible for your survival, for your protection, for your provisions, but to also connect with your Heavenly Mother, because she is responsible for your soul. She is responsible for your physical well-being, okay, and your ascension here on this planet. If you find yourself always referencing God as a man, right? If you find yourself really hesitant to see a woman as being a force of creation, that the masculine deities that we've all come to worship obviously worships her too. We see it in nature, you know, and then we see the men that don't worship women in nature, and what do they look like, right? We see the men who talk about a man has to go to God, right? In order for him to be a good man, he has to go to God and pour back into his woman what he receives from God, because the man has the XY chromosome. The XY chromosome allows him to detach from Earth and ascend higher into these higher universal forces, okay? This is why men are much more sensitive than women, and they have a much more pure spirit than women do, if they have not been tainted, okay? I talked about this in another video of the downfall of black dusty male leaders, okay? Men are very, very sensitive and much more easily sucked into demonic influences than women are. Women are basically born and bred from, you know, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like we just on the up and up, right? We're not necessarily the demonic force, but we are the negative energy. We're very familiar with what spiritual energy feels like, looks like, all of those things. Again, if you want to learn more about that connection, I recommend that you sign up for the Mistress class. Men are more sensitive. And this is also why really demonic influences will try to steal a man's innocence. This is actually when everything started to really click for me around masculine energy, and specifically the sacred masculine. Is I started to see the pieces started to come together around what evil spirits do to the masculine so that they can draw more power. It's like, it's weird. It's weird, but they go after men. They don't go after women. What they try to do is they try to suppress and beat down women. But what they do is they try to energetically, in a way, rape men. Sometimes it physically comes down to it, but it's like this energetically, they try to seduce men, okay? And this is why whenever I talk about like the red pill, or like these men who like fall in love with these other male leaders to the point where they cannot see these men clearly, this is kind of what's happening. It's like this energetic raping, and it's so gross, you know. And I'm talking about it so bluntly like this because it needs to be talked about like this so people can realize what the hell is going on. All right, the sacred masculine is very powerful, and he does have a connection to God in a way that it's unique to him, okay? A son loves his mother, you know. It's different than the way a daughter loves her mother. A son loves his mother, you know. He wants to please her in all these different types of ways. And then that transfers into, you know, his wife. Of course, that's a different level of intimacy and everything like that, but it's different, okay? So when a son grows up, always seeing the man, the man, the man, and never seeing or being given permission to give honor and worship to the woman, right? When he believes that God is also a man and that he receives all of this great things from God and he's the only one who can connect to God, right? But he doesn't understand that this God also has a goddess. This God is also, I would say, pretty much predominantly, the predominant force is coming from the feminine God, you know. It creates crazy imbalances within society for men and women, right? When a son grows up this way, and also when a daughter grows up this way, worshiping, you know, a man all her life, she's not going to see much value in herself. And this is why we have the epidemic of women devaluing themselves now, right? Trying to come into their power, but for so long they've been lied to about their magnificence. So it's like, it feels weird when you tell a woman that, you know, carry yourself like this, right? To them, they're thinking, oh, if I act this way with a man, I'm gonna be this bougie and stuck up and a gold digger. And there's all kinds of derogatory terms for women who value themselves. All kinds of derogatory terms. It's very important for women and men to come back into harmony with their Heavenly Mother. Remember that when and if you pray, you know, if you're not praying to your own divinity, right, into your own higher self, and you're praying to a God, you know, every night, are you making space for your Heavenly Mother? Are you making space for that feminine energy to also be worshipped and appreciated and praised? So some of the ways that you can start to honor your Heavenly Mother, connect to your Heavenly Mother, and balance out that relationship that you have with your Heavenly Father. And, you know, for some of us, we have that deep connection with the mother, but we need to reconnect with the father and things like that. So, I mean, that could be another video. But one of the ways is definitely in sync with what I mentioned earlier is really developing a new relationship with nature and the world around you. Do not oversimplify and continue to live in a world that is without magic, okay? And nature is full of magic, okay? We don't get to experience much of it because a lot of us live in cities, and a lot of the magical elements of nature leave the city and they go into the wild, they go into a safer space for it to exist. I say them because there is a spiritual energy. There are spirits that enmesh themselves into nature. This is what they call fairies. This is what they call, you know, all of these different mythical beings that at one point people had a much more connected relationship with, because we were living in the age of Pisces, right? Right when we entered into the age of Pisces, actually, like, we were completely enmeshed with the spiritual world. We were completely intertwined with the spiritual world. And once we progressed throughout the age of Pisces, this is where a lot of basically the separation between the spiritual world and the physical world happened, where fairies and other spiritual entities and energies that live in nature we're not safe in these spaces, in these places, because of the colonialization that was going on, because of the women that were being oppressed, because of the indigenous communities that were matriarchal, or if not matriarchal, they had that balance of the man and the woman. And religion came in and just said, all of that gotta go. And they created this wall between the spiritual world and the physical world. So yeah, a lot of people think you're crazy when you talk about fairies. Yeah, a lot of people think you're crazy when you start talking about these weird experiences that you're having in life that are connected to nature. You start to see animals as spiritual guides, as messengers, and not just wild beasts or, you know, scavengers or whatever. You start to see the trees as the trees and the flowers as sacred medicine and interpreters of energy, sending out signals, right, through the electromagnetic field. There is so much beauty and so much magic that I myself, you know, really want to commit my life to exploring, because it brings me so much peace in my heart, in my body, in my soul, because I know that life truly is meant to be good, a good place, a healing place, a healthy place, a happy place. It's not meant to be full of war and chaos and you did this to me and you did that to me and fighting over resources. All of these things are not in connection with our Heavenly Mother, and we know this. We know this, but the way that we go about trying to remedy these situations is we try to bring in more masculine energy. More masculine energy to bring remedy to the disconnection of feminine energy through logic and politics and, oh, we're going to pass this and we're going to do this law and that law. And meanwhile, you're still disconnected. You still have no relationship with the divine. You still have no relationship with your Heavenly Mother. When is it going to end? When is it going to end? When are you going to remember who you actually are and your relationship to all things? Because that is what's going to remedy all of the issues we see on the planet. You see all this environmental, you know, horrible things going on with the environment and agriculture and how they're raping the lands and ruining our crops and depreciating our fruits from all of the minerals and the natural things that are meant to come from it. You see all these things happening, and your remedy is to pass more laws and to do more things, and you're going about it in this in a way, and I'm not saying that this way cannot have an impact, but that must be the foundation of it, must be in your connection to the feminine. Your foundation in it must be in your connection to the earth, because all of those things have a relationship with the earth. You see things going on in the ocean, plastics in the ocean, pollution in the ocean, animals in the water dipping out. Okay, we could say they disappearing, but to me, they dipping out. They getting out. Okay, because there's more than this earth than we see on the map. We could say that they're disappearing, or they just went somewhere else. Okay, they just don't want to be by us no more, because we have an issue connecting to our emotions. We have an issue having a healthy relationship to our soul. We have an issue with emotionally being healthy and being emotionally intelligent and developing that skill set to its highest capacity. We have an issue with that. But again, our remedy is to be masculine and, you know, clean up the oceans and which again, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that, but what I'm saying is when you don't go to the core, when you don't go to the root first, it's just gonna get polluted again. It's just gonna get messed up again. It's just gonna happen again, and you will have to clean it up again. In a previous video I talked about the power of feminine energy and discovering your magic as the feminine. I went through all of the elemental feminine archetypes, okay? You can go back and watch that video, which is why I'm bringing up the elements now of the earth, of water, okay? We can go into fire and we can look at the media, what we're seeing on TV, what we're being presented with as visuals, what we're being presented with to understand as the meaning of life, and the way that people are performing and presenting things, and the creativity people are expressing. You listen to what the hell they saying? They're devilish, okay? They produce life-destroying creativity. That's what your creativity produces more of. This is the ultimate, right, distortion of fire energy. Like, you can see it clearly in the media, right? And all of the things when they talk about the Illuminati, right? We all know that that means light, right? And so when you're thinking about it, right, it all goes back to that fire element, right? You're distorting people's perception. There's just so much. There's so much. And that's why I decided to create the I Am Earth Mistress Mind, because when you are aware of it, when you make sense of everything, you can truly live as you are meant to. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I feel like I shared a lot just now, but it was necessary, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be in connection with my Heavenly Mother. I'm grateful to be in connection with myself and receiving messages from her all the time, from me, right? It's really me, in my highest form. Anyway, it's phenomenal. I love it. And I can't wait to embellish myself even more in it as life goes on. The mystery of the feminine, the darkness, the everything. It's what I was born for as a Scorpio woman with an earth sign in Taurus. So, all right, my loves, thank you all for watching. Let me know what y'all think about this video. Do you feel it? Do you feel what I'm saying? Do you long for that connection? Do you feel connected? How do you feel like maybe you've been severed from that connection before? Questions, comments. I'm here for it, and I will meet y'all in the comments below. Thank you again for watching, and peace.